everyone, welcome to Literary Lovers channel. Today we are going to discuss about Shakespeare, another famous novel, Midsummer's Night Dream. This play is famous because of its centered around the concepts of irrational and forced love. Shakespeare drew a concept of courtly love and ethics from Chaucer's The Knight's Tale as well as the marriage culture of the 16th century. It's a comedy of four Athenians, two women and two men fall in love, and confusions of fairies. The fairies making people fall in and out of love. The characters wakes up and feeling disoriented and believing what they experienced was a dream. Though the reader knows the truth, but they feel like that. At one point, the prankers Punk says, "Fear not, my lord, your servant shall do so." So, I'm just going to introduce the character first. Characters in the play are Aegeus, Duke, his daughter Hermia, and he is in love with Lysandra. Helena marries Demetrius, and Oberon, king of the fairies, Oberon's wife, Titania, Theseus, duke of Athens, and Hippolyta, a Robin Goodfellow. He is also called as Punk, a type of a fairy. Nick Bottom, a wavier who has supreme confidence in his acting skill, convinces the other laborers to give him the leading role of Pyramus in their version. Pyramus and Thespis. It's a play which they are planning to enact in the marriage of Theseus and Hippolyta. Themes of the play, there were four different kinds of love: forced love, parental love, forced love, parental love, romantic love, and complicated love. So here the play begins in Athens, where the king Theseus celebrates his upcoming marriages to Hippolyta, the queen of the Amazons. They are the one pair of love, which will take place in 4 days under the new moon. Aegeus enters with Hermia, Demetrius and Lysandra, they both are men, explains that he has arranged, Aegeus explains that he has arranged the marriage for Hermia, who is the daughter of Aegeus, and Hermia to wed Demetrius. But she refused because she is in love with Lysandra. Aegeus speaks with Theseus and to make him to invoke the Athenian law because he wants his daughter to obey his order. Theseus tells Hermia she can either choose to marry Demetrius or be put to death or enter into convent. She has until his wedding to decide. When Hermia and Lysandra are left alone with Hermia's childhood friend Helena is one who is in love with Demetrius, but Demetrius is already fallen to Hermia. Demetrius earlier once loved Helena, but now he is abandoned in favor of Hermia because he is fallen for her. If he goes after them to stop their elopement, Helena informs to Demetrius that they are going to elope. Thus both Hermia and Lysandra are getting eloped. So she thought that if Helena shares this information to Demetrius, so that she will be able to win him back. We are also introduced to a group of craftsmen in the story who knows nothing of acting, but are nonetheless rehearsing a play they hope to put on for Theseus' upcoming wedding. They decided on what they call the most lamentable comedy and cruel death of Pyramus and Thespis. In Act 2, that's all fall in the Act 1. Next in Act 2, Robin Goodfellow was a fairy who is also known as Puck. He is an idiot fellow because he gets confused and he don't know to whom he need to do a magical herb, to whom he puts that. So he meets a fellow fairy servant in the hooks. He warns him to keep Oberon away from Titania. As the two are fighting, Titania, newly returned from India, has adopted a young Indian prince, and Oberon wants the beautiful boy as his own manservant. Oberon, you know that, he is the king of the fairies. He demands the boy. Titania refuses. The both started quarreling. Oberon also has an extramarital affairs. Titania too. When she exits, Oberon asks Puck to find a magic herb called love in idleness. That if we spread that herb on a sleeper's eyes, will cause them to fall in love with the first person they see. Puck will use this juice on Titania, so she falls shamefully in love with the ridiculous animal, as where once Puck turns the bottom into an ass, Nick Bottom, a wavier. Have you remembered him to has? So Titania falls in love with Nick Bottom, who is now in ass form. So it's a donkey. Next, Helena proclaims. Later, the Puck goes to find the flowers, and Demetrius and Helena enter. Hidden Oberon watches as Demetrius insults Helena and curses Lysander and Hermia. Helena proclaims her unconditional love, but Demetrius rebuffs her. After their exit, Oberon, moved by Helena's love, orders Puck first to put some juice on Demetrius. Oberon ordered to Puck to make this happen. So he tells him that the man in question will be identifiable but has Athenian clothing. Oberon finds Titania sleeping on the bank, and he squeezes the juice onto her eyes. After the exit, Lysander and Hermia appear, lost. They decided to sleep in the forest, and the mainly Hermia asks Lysander to sleep at a distance from her. Puck enters and mistakes Lysander for Demetrius, judging from his cloth and his distance from the lady. Puck puts the juice on his eyes and departs. Demetrius enters, still trying to lose Helena and abundance. Puck wears Lysander Athenian clothes and puts the love juice on his eyelids, whereas this Oberon informed Puck to put a juice to Demetrius because he left this Helena. But instead of putting to Demetrius, he put on Lysander. When he wake up, he sees Helena and falls in love with her. And he just followed her. Whereas this Hermia wakes up and shocked that Lysander would abandon her, she goes to search for him. The laborers rehearse their play in the forest, close to where Titania sleeps. They can't remember their lines or cues. Amusing Puck, who watching them, Puck transforms bottom head into a head of an ass. The other laborers got terrified and ran away. Not knowing what's happening and thinking his friends ran away as a joke, Bottom sings to show he isn't frightened. His song wakes up Titania. She falls in love with that Bottom who got turned into ass. Oberon is pleased with Puck's work until he discovered that Puck put the love juice in Lysander's rather than Demetrius' eyes. He sends Puck to bring Helena to Demetrius and puts the love potions in Demetrius' eyes. Helena arrives, followed by Lysander. Demetrius wakes and falls in love with Helena, while she now thinks both are mocking her because both are in love with Helena. Hermia then shows up and is furious that Lysandra is now owing for Helena. Soon Hermia and Helena are on the verge of fighting. While the men go off to duel in the forest, Helena runs. Hermia chases her. Oberon sends Puck out to make sure no one hurts each other. Puck uses his trickery to get them all to fall asleep in the same small glade and then puts the love juice on Lysandra's highlights so he will love Hermia again. Titania, meanwhile, is still doting her bottom and has given Oberon the challenge. While she sleeps, Oberon removes the spell and Puck removes the bottom's head. On a hunting expedition in the forest, Theseus, Hippolyta, and Odysseus encountered the four sleeping lovers. When Lysandra admits that he and Hermia were eloping, Odysseus insists that the law be brought down on their heads. But Theseus sees that Lysandra now loves Hermia, while Demetrius loves Helena, that is forced love, and says the four lovers can marry her at his wedding. At the same time, Bottom returns to Athens just as the laborers were starting to despair they wouldn't be able to perform their play because they had no pyramus. As entertainment after the wedding, the Duke chooses to watch the laborers play. It is terrible and ridiculous, but the Duke and lovers enjoy making fun of it. After three married couples go to bed, the fairies enter and blesses the marriages. This is about conclusions of Midsummer's Night Dream. Happy hunting, and at all comes a noon, a morning. This all like a symbol. Moon is a symbol of night, or also a symbol of confusion. Sleep, dreams, it's all symbolizing to illusions, fickle nature of love. This is the story of the Midsummer Night Dream. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and please do comment what are your reactions on the play. Thank you.